Let's get into it. Soul Not for Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Tulsi Gabbard with Donald Trump finally making her appearance. It's funny. I'm just looking at the title of this video. It's from the National Desk. It's funny because they're like, she's been sworn in as the director of the CIA. And that's not true. Hey, don't let ChatGPT write your titles for you. She's been sworn in as a director of national intelligence. I want to show you what Trump has to say about this and about her. And they're in the same room, first time since this has all happened. Her confirmation, and then her actually being sworn in, and then a clip from Shawn Ryan's podcast because he congratulated her by showing a clip of her speaking about things that need to change within the agencies that she now oversees, which is a great thing. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much. And today, we're delighted to swear in our next Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Most of you know Tulsi. She's a fantastic woman. Tulsi, I want to just congratulate you, your husband, Abraham, your sister, and all of your friends. A lot of friends here. You have a lot of friends, I noticed. You worked out very well. Tulsi Gabbard's an American of extraordinary courage and exceptional patriotism. She's devoted her entire life to public service, and I've watched her for years on different shows and everything. I said, she's a woman of great common sense, and, we like the common sense. Used a lot. It's usually pretty effective, too, and you really are. I've watched you even on Larry King. You're very young. I don't know how you were Larry King, but you're very young. But you were, and you always had the situation covered properly. At 21 years old, Tulsi became the youngest woman ever elected to the Hawaii State Legislature. After 9/11, she joined the Hawaii Army National Guard and deployed abroad 3 times, and highly respected by everybody. So many people writing in letters saying she was so exceptional even then. She continues to serve as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, and Tulsi also served 4 terms in the United States House of Representatives, where she was a member of the House Armed Services Committee. She is a former vice chair of the National Democratic Party. Can you believe that? And here she is. But she was never a Democrat. She was, at heart, she was a Republican. I watched her. And was a 2020 Democrat candidate for President of the United States. It's not easy, right? It's not so easy. People think it's easy. It's not easy. Throughout her service, Tulsi has always distinguished herself as a leader of the highest caliber. She's earned the respect and admiration and love of Americans on both sides of the aisle as her profound commitment to the values that keep us free, and she really does have those values as much as anybody. In recent years, Tulsi left's attacks on free speech and the dangers of an unelected deep state. And I have to say, she was very, very strong for me when I was going through all of the fake news and all of the problems that we had with some very sick people. She was always out there. Before I really knew her as well, she was out there defending me, so I appreciated that, Tulsi. But the threat of a warmongering military-industrial complex and the weaponization of government and governmental people that go out and persecute. They like to persecute people that are innocent. Tulsi herself became a target of that weaponization when she was outrageously placed on a suspected terrorist watch list by the Biden regime. It's a very evil regime after criticizing their appalling abuses of power. And I'm confident that as director of the National Intelligence, Tulsi will work tirelessly to keep America safe. And she's been doing that her entire career. I think it's going to be a very natural day for you when you walk in. It's just have to keep the way you are. Just stay the way you are. She'll be clear-eyed and she'll be focused on the threat of radical Islamic terrorism and lots of other threats, too, threats from within and give no quarter to America's foreign enemies. At the same time, I'm entrusting Tulsi with the responsibility of overseeing urgently needed reforms to the U.S. intelligence community to protect the rights and the civil liberties of all Americans. She'll provide the American people with transparency, eliminate corruption, national security state. There's only one thing I can say, that there's nobody like her for this job. This was a very easy one for me. She was recommended by some of the top people in that world. It's a little world, you know, it's a little smart world. It sometimes can be an evil world when the wrong people are there, but we have the right one. She's had so many great recommendations. I would say Pam was right up there with her, Pam Bondi. She had a lot of I know her a little bit better, and you're doing a fantastic job after about 3 or 4 days, right? You've had a lot of experience, but you've never seen anything like this, Pam. But you're going to do fantastic as the Attorney General, fantastic. So thank you and congratulations. We did this with Pam a few days ago, and this is again my honor. So congratulations to Tulsi, and I think Pam is going to administer the oath, and when she does that, I'll sign your new certificate. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Please place your left hand on the Constitution and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I, Tulsi Gabbard, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of
evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God. Congratulations.
It's a big deal. Thank you. Okay, the Oval Office.
Easy.
Joe got a good one here. Okay, not bad. Ready? I'll stand up here. Come on over here, Abraham. Okay, I'm sure there are no questions.
Mr. President. When and where will you be with
You know what, I'd like to have Tulsi say a few words first, and we could answer a couple of questions. That's good.
Who made this video, huh? What's going on with these little cuts
Mr.
and
President,
stuff?
first and foremost, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the trust that you have placed in me to fulfill this critical position as Director of National Intelligence at any time, but specifically during this time. Unfortunately, the American people have very little trust in the intelligence community, largely because they've seen the weaponization and politicization of an entity security. So I look forward in this election to refocus our intelligence community by empowering the great patriots who have chosen to serve our country in this way and focus on ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As you've said, Mr. President, this is what I've dedicated my life to, and it is truly humbling to be in this position, to serve in your administration, help to and ultimately to keep the American people safe. Last thing I'll mention, that in your National Prayer Breakfast speech, you made a statement about your legacy of wanting to be remembered as a peacemaker. I know that I can speak for many of my fellow service members who are here today, veterans, Medal of Honor recipients, how deeply that resonates with us. for those who volunteer to put their lives on the line when duty calls, but to have a president and commander-in-chief who recognizes the cost of that sacrifice and ensuring that war is the last resort, not the first. So thank you for your leadership on behalf of my friends here and all who wear the uniform. We're grateful. Thank you.
Tulsi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you.
Very presidential with the things that she says. She always says things just right with enough authenticity, you know. Very, very nice that she. I was thinking as I was watching this, because you guys know I have 2 channels, right? On my main channel, it's Joe Rogan content. You know, I like to watch JRE, and I react to that, and I do deep dives into the things that Joe kind of stays surface level on. You know, I'm kind of like the ultimate commenter on his channel, and I've had to watch Tulsi actually grow. I've watched her because she's been on the show so many times. Her first appearance was with Jocko, and I've watched her grow quite a bit. And it's just very interesting to see the arc. You know, I posted another video when she first got confirmed, and somebody who's like, "You don't know her, man. Oh, you don't know. She's a wild card, and you don't know." I'm like, bro, I've done hundreds of hours of research on this lady. You know, a lot of people, and it's not that person's fault. If you see the first channel, you don't know I have another channel. You don't know I've made like 1,600 videos over there. I've made like two or 300 videos over here. There's just so much research that goes into all this. You know, first video I did on Tulsi, I was kind of exposing her because there was like World Economic Forum ties. And I'm the only person who's done this, by the way. There's no one else that's done this before. I went into her X feed, her Twitter feed, and I went all the way to the bottom. I went deep. And I found a tweet because she said she had no connection to them whatsoever. And then I found a tweet where she was thanking them for the award that they were giving her. And I was like, so she says there's no connection. But then I started to learn as time went on that when she first got in with the Democrats, because she was a woman of color and all these things that they love to gravitate towards, she was just getting award after award. So she was doing the politician thing. She was a Democrat. She was like AOC, just, thank you for this, and thank you for that, thank you for that. No, I'm the vice chair of the DNC. Thank you for that, and thank you for that. And you just, things are just moving too fast. So she just thanked the World Economic Forum, didn't really realize what she was thinking, and I started realizing, I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on here, you know. Although I didn't retract the video or anything. The video's still up. Like, you can go see everything that I'm talking about. It's one of my earlier videos, back when I was probably like episode 1 or 200 or something like that, back in my Uber Eats days. So yeah, I saw that, and I just saw this growth over time. Slowly saw her starting to change when she was on JRE, and the things she had to say and the things that she was moving towards. And then she started a podcast, and she started sitting down with Tucker, and she wasn't really accepted by the Democrats anymore. So she couldn't sit down with those people anymore. And who is willing to sit down and actually have conversations even when they disagree? Well, many people on the right, especially the media personalities. So I started seeing those interviews, and it's just interesting to see this arc. And then all of a sudden in 2024, see her actually switch to being a Republican, going from a Democrat, becoming an independent, being houseless, stateless, like, you know, like no home. And then all of a sudden becoming a Republican, fighting for Donald Trump, because if you have to be blind to not see that he was the person to fight for in this whole thing, and, you know, helping him get elected. It was just remarkable to see the change. And now to see her move on to actually become Director of National Security. It's so crazy. What a growth we've seen from this lady. It's incredible, you know. I know a lot of people are still going to be like, I don't know about Tulsi, this, that. Well, you know what? I get that completely. I've also done about 500 hours of research on her. So that's not going to change your opinion. It's not supposed to. But for me, it changed my opinion because I've just done so much research into her. Where she's from, where she's grown up, you know, how she was as a Democrat, with the, you know, the visits, the world leaders she's met, like everything. So it's just interesting to see how people can grow and change. You know, it's along the lines of a growth arc like JD Vance. You know, you go from this person, she was never a never Trumper, but she was in the camp. She was in the camp of a never Trumper for sure. And now she's in the administration and she has a big role to play. And I think she's going to play it well. I do. I know somebody was saying she's not for the people. She's government first, not the people first. You don't know what you're talking about. And that's cool. You know, I would tell you that if I was live right now and there was a chat. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm not saying I know better, but I'm saying you got to wait and see with this type of thing. And when it comes down to it, everything you've seen with Trump in the past 3 weeks, all the good that he's done, the fact that Kamala Harris is not in office, the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was actually coaching Trump to make sure that he won the debate with her and what to do and everything like that, kind of shows that she's changed. And I give people room to change. I have to do that because at one point I was just a drug addict who was not that great of a guy, you know, just like 10 years ago, I was terrible. 15 years ago, I was terrible. Are you kidding me? You know, at one point I wanted to be a career criminal. I wanted it. I was like, yeah, this is the thing. Like what? Pants down past my butt? Like crazy, just ridiculous. So I know that people are supposed to grow and change, and I really do think she has. This was Shawn Ryan giving her a little bit of thanks, a little bit of congratulations here, because she was on his podcast as well.
We can bring about wholesale change by putting the right people in office who are committed to the Constitution and to our country, and who have a backbone and the courage to root out the deep rot of corruption that exists within every agency of our federal government. But if we all kind of throw in the towel, then we're giving up without a fight. I've experienced in real time, there was a bill that was coming to the House floor for a vote, and it had strong bipartisan support. I remember looking at the readout that I got and the assessment that I did before every single vote that came through. I had my staff put together, okay, here's why the Democrats are saying to vote for or against this bill. And here's why the Republicans are saying to vote for or against this bill. Then I could look at, you know, oftentimes very different narratives, all talking about the same piece of legislation. But in this case, the recommendations were, hey, we need to vote for this legislation because it's going to do X, Y, or Z, and it's a good thing. And it had overwhelming support, close to 400. It was expected to pass with over 400 votes of support. In like the 4 to 6 hours prior to that vote taking place, there was a flood. It started trending on Twitter. It was still Twitter back then. And phone calls, you know, phones were ringing off the hook. People were tweeting about why this legislation was not a good idea. And here were the potential unintended negative consequences that would come from this legislation. And it was dead. It tanked. Overwhelming bipartisan opposition to the bill. And that was within the span of one day. And so, you know, it doesn't always work out that way, but we have many, many more numbers than them. And ultimately, most members of Congress, what they fear most is losing their job.
Tulsi Gabbard seems to be telling it how it is. And I have a lot of faith in Trump this time around. Last time as well, but this time is just like a completely different beast. I think there's a reason that he's putting her in this position. You know, I think there's a reason. Like, I, you know, didn't particularly care for Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. I actually didn't care for JD Vance when I first heard about JD Vance and heard his comments about Trump before he was considered as VP. I didn't like it at all. You're starting to see there's reasons why he's put these people in these positions. It's all starting to make sense. There's a reason he chose Kash Patel. And, you know, if you watch interviews with Kash and you see him in action when he's confirmed, RFK, I'm sure most of us already understand why RFK's in that position. There's a reason he chose Tulsi, you know? So I think we're going to see good things from her. like I told you guys before, she is responsible for the presidential brief. She's supposed to bring all intel information from all of the 18 agencies that she will oversee, including the FBI, CIA, and she's going to bring that to President Trump every day. So anything that's going on, and she's allowed to kind of pierce into what's going on and find out whatever she needs to find out. If there's anything happening that's going to undermine Trump, like last time in his first term, she's going to be the one to bring it to him. And again, I think there's a reason he chose her. So I'm gonna sit back and watch that. You know, I didn't like Pam Bondi either. I was like, oh, who's this Pam? I wanted Matt Gaetz, and it's like she's suing Letitia James right now. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. You know, there's a reason for all this stuff going on right now. So I'm happy. Congratulations, Tulsi. Congratulations. I went from calling her an Illuminati shill to congratulations, ma'am. We all grow and change. Anyways, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. It helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.